The Galactic Academy's Xenobiology lecture hall erupted into chaos as the containment field flickered and died. Professor Zixthara's four eyes widened in terror as the massive Corthanian apex predator, AET, creature that looked like a cross between a bear and a shark with crystalline spines, stepped through the failing barrier. Barris Martinez sat in the back row, calmly finishing his notes on interspecies behavioral patterns, while his classmates scrambled over desks in panic. The human exchange student had seen this coming the moment he'd noticed the containment unit's power coupling was loose. Typical Centaurian engineering, all flash, no substance. Evacuate. Evacuate! Professor Zixithara shrieked through his translator, his tentacles flailing as he backed toward the emergency exit. Class Omega Protocol. The predator, easily 3 meters tall and covered in bioluminescent markings that pulsed with aggression, let out a bone-rattling roar that sent the remaining vegan students into hysterics. Its razor-sharp claws scraped against the floor as it scanned the room, searching for prey. Melissa Chen, a Terran xenopsychology major sitting 2 rows ahead, turned back to see Barris still seated, apparently unbothered by the chaos. "Barris," she called over the screaming. "What are you doing? We need to run." Barris stood slowly, brushing invisible dust from his standard-issue Academy jumpsuit. "Actually," he said, studying the creature with the same intensity he'd shown during Professor Gelt's quantum mechanics exam, "I think we need to do the opposite." The Corthanian predator's attention snapped to him. Its luminescent patches shifted from aggressive red to curious yellow-green as it registered the lack of fear pheromones from the human. This was unusual. In its homeworld's ecosystem, everything ran from apex predators. Everything. "Barris, please," Melissa whispered urgently. "My research shows these things can tear through starship hull plating." "Your research is correct," Barris replied, taking a careful step forward. The predator's massive head tilted, similar to how Earth dogs expressed confusion. "But your research was conducted on specimens in captivity, under stress, separated from their pack structures." He took another step. The creature's bioluminescence shifted again, this time to a pattern Barris recognized from his childhood spent reading xenobiology journals instead of playing with other kids. "You're not aggressive," he said softly to the predator. "You're scared." The Academy's security forces could be heard rushing down the corridors, their heavy boots echoing against the metal flooring. "Probably carrying enough firepower to level half the station," Barris mused. "Standard Galactic Council procedure when dealing with Class Omega creatures. Shoot first, file paperwork later." The predator's ears, if those fin-like appendages could be called ears, swiveled toward the approaching sounds. Its luminescence shifted to deep purple, a color Barris's enhanced memory recalled from Dr. Vorth's comparative emotion studies. Fear. Defensive posturing. "Hey there," Barris said, his voice carrying the same tone he'd used with the stray dogs back in Mexico City. "You don't want to hurt anyone, do you? You just want to go home." He crouched down, making himself smaller, less threatening. The predator's crystalline spines, which had been rigid with stress, began to relax slightly. Melissa watched in fascination as Barris extended his hand, palm up. "This is insane," she breathed. "Humans really are as crazy as the rumors say." "Not crazy," Barris corrected without breaking eye contact with the creature. "Just different perspective." The predator leaned forward, its massive head lowering to investigate this strange, fearless being. Its nostrils, complex breathing apparatus that could detect pheromones across several star systems, flared as it processed Barris's scent. No fear. No aggression, just curiosity and something else, something warm. When the creature's nose touched Barris's palm, he felt the familiar electric thrill he'd experienced during his first contact with an Earth dolphin, or when he'd successfully communicated with the quantum-conscious crystals of Proxima b. "That's it," he murmured, slowly reaching up to scratch behind what he hoped was an ear. The predator's eyes, all 6 of them, closed in apparent bliss. Humans figured out about 10,000 years ago that most monsters just need understanding. The security team burst through the doors, plasma rifles charged and ready, only to stop dead at the sight before them. The terrifying Corthanian apex predator, the same species that had single-handedly devastated 3 colony worlds, was lying on its back while a human student rubbed its belly. The creature's luminescence had shifted to warm gold, patterns that xenobiologists would later identify as the Corthanian equivalent of a purr. "Don't shoot," Barris called out calmly, continuing his belly rubs. "Contact the Corthanian embassy. Tell them we have one of their citizens who got lost and scared." Captain Vrolik, a grizzled Altarian veteran, lowered his weapon slowly. "Student Martinez, are you telling me this Class Omega predator is domesticated?" "Not domesticated," Barris replied, as the creature rolled over to offer better access to an itchy spot near its shoulder. "Just misunderstood. The Corthanian apex predator isn't actually an apex predator in the traditional sense. They're pack guardians, highly intelligent, deeply social, and incredibly loyal." He paused in his scratching to look directly at Captain Vrolik. "They only become monsters when they're isolated, frightened, or protecting something. This one's probably been in that containment unit for months, maybe years. Wouldn't you be a little cranky?" The creature made a sound that could only be described as a contented sigh. Professor Zixthara, who had been cowering behind an overturned desk, slowly emerged. How did you know?" he stammered. Barris shrugged, returning his attention to the creature's chin, apparently another universal sweet spot across species. "Humans have a saying, there are no bad dogs, only bad owners. I figured it might apply to alien life forms too." As the Corthanian embassy's representatives arrived to collect their wayward citizen, Melissa approached Barris with a mixture of admiration and scientific curiosity. "You know," she said, "the Galactic Council has been trying to establish peaceful contact with the Corthanian hegemony for centuries." Barris gave the creature one final scratch before standing up. The predator nuzzled his hand affectionately before padding over to its people. "Maybe," he said with a small smile. "They should try belly rubs next time." The creature turned back once, its bioluminescence flashing in what Barris somehow knew was a farewell, before disappearing down the corridor with the embassy officials. In the aftermath report, Captain Vrolik would write, "Human instincts regarding predator psychology proved invaluable. Recommend immediate consultation with Terran specialist for all future xenobiological incidents." But Barris knew the truth was simpler than that. Sometimes the scariest monsters just needed someone to see past their teeth and claws to the frightened soul underneath. After all, that was the most human thing of all.